Okay, so here we are, and welcome back to the little tiny homestead. And I'm here with my husband David today because we are doing a tiny house tour. This is a house we built, started during COVID, I think it was 2020. And we are going to do a tour. David's going to answer some questions I have. This is still a little bit of a work in progress, so we'll kind of go over some things we're going to be changing as well. But we're just kind of walk through and give you an idea of what's going on. It's been a fun project, a big challenge for David. Okay, so we are going to be looking at the outside first because David said so. So we will start right here. This is the front door. Do you want to explain first of all how this came about?
Which this is that?
The how we decided to
The
build
door?
how we decided to build a tiny house. Could you explain first of all just what made you decide to do this?
We have been watching a lot of videos on YouTube of tiny houses and some of the really early ones that came out. And so we kind of got the idea from that. And then we decided, we saw a video of one that we really liked the general design on. So we based it off of that one and just kind of went from there.
Yeah, and that was on living big in a tiny house. So we've watched lots of the different videos, but that was the one I think it's one of our favorites because he does a real complete tour of the homes and it's real variety of homes. So let's go ahead and start on the outside here, and you can explain kind of how it started from the ground up, or however you want to start here.
So this is the view from our house towards the tiny house, and basically what it is it's got 6 piles that were dug into the ground. They're actually old telephone poles that we got free, and then around the bottom is the foundation or the treated lumber that goes around the bottom, and then the house is just built up on that. So it's not a house on wheels. It's not movable. It's actually fastened into the ground. And as you can see from some of the patches in the siding, all of the siding was free, and so we made do with what we had. And there's some places where there's little pieces. Same thing with the roof and the trim on the roof and everything like that. It's all was reused or recycled. Our purpose of this was not to buy as little as possible new. So we did a pretty good job on that. The foundation boards are the only things that from a lumber standpoint that we bought that was new. So this is the front of the house where the front door is, and it's also where we fill the water from. We just hook a hose up onto this, and it goes up into the storage loft where the water, or the water tank is, and uses gravity feed for the water. So we just fill the tank and then let it drain down into the things. And this is a 2-foot door, and we didn't want to take up any more floor space inside when we didn't want to use up any more exterior wall with the door. So it's very, very narrow, but it works. Everything here at our house is on a hill, so everything slopes from the road down to the bottom of the property. And so you can see that it's up off the ground quite a bit on this side. And this is kind of what I consider the utility side of the house, because it has the propane and the diesel, Chinese diesel heater out here, so that those things don't end up inside where they could cause problems. So they're there. Eventually we hope to put a deck on from the front door that comes out here and wraps all the way around this side, but we haven't gotten to that yet. Since we haven't got a deck on it yet, we haven't really put any official final stairs on the front, but it worked for now. We're not currently actually using the tiny house for anything, but we are keeping it warm. We're keeping it above freezing so that the water system doesn't freeze. So the Chinese diesel heater is on, and I think it comes on at like 35 degrees and goes off at 40. So it doesn't get warm in here, but it stays above freezing. So basically, we have one room the kitchen and the dining room, downstairs bed, and then the bathroom is in here. And so we've tried to pack as much. It's only 8 feet wide and 10 feet long. And so or 12 feet long, sorry, 8 foot wide and 12 feet long. And so it's got, you know, not much floor space. And so we made it do as much as we could with what we have. This is the electronic center of the tiny house. It's got all the switches for all the different lights that are in here. We made our own fixtures for the lights that are around, and so we can turn them on and off from here. And you can also turn them on and off from each individual one by pulling down on the chain. We have a combination of both 12 volts DC and 120 volts, 110, 120 volts for regular electricity, because we do have a little refrigerator in here, and the 12 volt power supply runs off of the 120 volt main power. But if we got to the point where we had needed to use this in an emergency, we could hook a generator up to one plug in the barn next door, and that would power the whole tiny house, including the 12 volt system and the others. So we could have a generator running and power the house with no problem. We did recycle all of the things that you see in here, even the windows. The windows were I found along the road in somebody's trash, and so made frames and built the windows out of those. And except for the 2 up in the loft, which we purchased used. And then some of the other ones were skylights that we purchased a bunch of skylights. We used one of the skylights in the loft, but the other ones we made into windows to put in here. We have a couple of things that we can move in and out of the way so that they're not in the way all the time. The ladder for the loft, it goes on either side of the loft. The loft on this side is a storage loft. The loft on that side is a queen size loft and sleeping loft. So the ladder we can put on and move around on either side. And then the dining room table is folded up here. And so we can have all of our dishes and things like that in there. And we have a chair that we can pull out and sit on this side, and we can pull the bed out up closer to the table and use it to sit on that side as well. The sofa or the lounge couch is doubles as a bed for downstairs if you don't want to use the loft. And so what happens is the base pulls out, and then the cushions pull out and fill in the space. So it's almost a queen size width and just a little bit short of a full width or full length queen. For the cushions for this, we just bought a memory foam mattress and then cut it into pieces to make the side arms and the back of the couch, and then covered all of it with different material that had laying around, so they don't all match, but it works. So this is the controller for the Chinese diesel heater, pretty standard fare. And then we also have 12 volt outlet and USB charging ports in a number of different places around the house, just so in case you need it for whatever you might want to use. And then the Chinese diesel heater pulls room air into the heater out there, which we saw earlier, and then blows it back in. And this is the bathroom. We're hitting the rug. There we go. Basically, we haven't committed to putting in a composting toilet yet, so we just have a cassette toilet that we had previously had from when we went camping, and so that's there. And then we have a shower here with a curtain that goes all the way around, so you're basically showering in the pan, and keeping the curtain is used to keep the water in the space that we have there. The walls in here are some more of the recycled metal that we had available to us, and like I said, they weren't quite long enough, so we had to do some decorative touches around the top to make it fit. So it worked out pretty well. So tiny house technically could sleep 4, because you certainly could sleep 2 up here on this full size or queen size bed, and then you could sleep 2 more down there on the sofa. And so that was kind of the concept that we had, was to get be able to have 4 people in here if necessary. And so this is the sleeping loft. The loft on the other side is storage, and it's just got a bunch of junk up construction materials up there right now, so nothing really to look at. We did put a skylight in up here so that when you're laying in bed, you could look out and see the stars. Though there are quite a few trees, pine trees, that block some of the view, but you certainly can look out and see what's going on outside that way. And then there's a window on both ends as well. The reason that we built a tiny house, or really thought we wanted to build a tiny house, was just in case there was a situation where something happened and we needed to have a place that we could live in that was easy to heat, that was not necessarily reliant on electricity from the grid. And so this was kind of our solution to that, in that we could power the whole thing with a generator and have it available. It would be tight, it would be cozy, but it would certainly be safe and warm. So some projects that we still have to finish up in here. One of them is that we want to redo the bathroom. As you might have noticed, that it was just a wooden floor in there with a pan, and we wanted to change that over to be a totally tiled floor, with that the whole floor slopes to the drain, and so we don't have to worry about capturing the water in the pan, and it'll make it a lot nicer. So that's one thing that we want to do. Another thing we want to do is we want to switch over from, even though the tank up there it works with gravity fed, it won't work. We want to get a water heater, a small on-demand water heater, and they need some pressure, and the gravity fed water won't have enough pressure to do that with. So we're going to put in an RV pump, and then we'll be able to have pressurized water at the shower and at the sink. So that's a second thing that we want to redo, now that we've tried it and decided that we need to have a little bit more hot water. Another thing that we decided we needed some shelves or hooks in order to put stuff in here in the kitchen area. So we'll probably put some shelves and some hooks and things to hang pots and pans and things like that off of up there. We do have an electric water kettle and a propane stove for cooking on. So those and toaster. There's not a whole lot of, there's no oven or anything like that down in here. We are going to work on finishing the floor. We cut all these boards out of, they were actually oak doors, and so every single one of these floorboards was cut on the table saw and to thickness, and we laid them all down here and surface nailed them, and then we need to come back through and give it a good sanding, and then varnish it to keep it from splintering or soaking up water. So that's another project to do yet. Few windows outside that don't have cedar trim on them yet, but those are pretty minor things that we need to take care of, and we also need to get a gutter on the back side.
Okay, so that's basically the tour of the tiny house. I want to thank David for doing that. It really was just an amazing that he could construct a house. I guess you can do anything you want if you put your mind to it. That's kind of been your thought process for a long time, and you certainly can. This is actually it's a usable house, really. We have told friends and family they can use it and just kind of a getaway if they'd like to. We've stayed in here one night. That's how we kind of found out the things that we need to change. People might ask, will we use it as a verbo? That isn't something we've really fully considered. I am going to put some pictures in here of the process of the construction so you can kind of get a little idea of how that went. As time goes on, we will show you some updates that we plan to do with this. It's something that we don't think about a lot in the wintertime, I guess. We probably should, because sometimes you need it if you lose power to your main house. But in the summer, I'm sure we'll be doing a lot more work on it. So we're looking forward to using it more. And Thanks for coming along, and until we see you next time, stay rooted. Bye bye.